It's time for the big interview. So at the FayWhat show, we want to introduce you to interesting people who are important to our LGBTQ plus community and important to me. And today we're getting into bed with a man who is admired, accomplished, and let's be real, absolutely freaking gorgeous. He's a best-selling author, award-winning activist, powerhouse speaker, trained vocalist, and sports-loving snack. Please welcome to my bed my fabulous friend and the star of this morning's show, Terry Dyer. Terry, welcome to my bed, boo!
I'm excited. It's comfy.
Is it? You know that TP Lords designed this whole bed?
I love her.
Now it's even more comfortable now, right?
Knowing it comes from her. Hey, TP.
So you look super cute in your pajamas, and I'm glad, like when I asked you, I'm like, put on your pajamas, and you're like, well, Faye, like my PJs are usually like a big old t-shirt or nothing, right? And I'm like, well, okay, just wear something that you want to represent. You're like, I'll represent Flockfest.
Yes.
And I'm like, all right, that works for me,
Those are our boys. Those are our boys.
What's up? Big shout out going out to the boys from Flockfest. They're going to have their beach party coming up July 12th. And that's the only event I go to in the summer.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
It's too hot. I'm like, I'm black. I melt. Hello.
It's too much. It's too much. So, I wanted to bring Terry on the show because he's got a new book out, and his first book is just so incredible. And I needed to share all this with you. That's how powerful and important it is, So, Terry, how are you feeling about the book launch that's coming up?
I am incredibly excited.
Mm-hmm.
I am proud. I was very proud of book number 1 that came out 5 years ago. But this one, there's just so much more depth to it. There's so much more authenticity. I'm not calling out, I'm calling in our communities and things that we need to do better as people, and being kinder to each other. We're living in these crazy, crazy times, and we just got to hold each other so much more now than ever. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So Terry's new book, Surviving and Thriving as a Gay Black Man, officially launches July 15th, and you can get your copy on Amazon, all right? But don't wait. Pre-orders are live now, And so before we dive into the deep stuff about your book, let's warm up a little with a quick game.
Okay. Love it. Let's do it.
So rapid fire style. Okay, it's gonna be like I scream. I usually scream. I give you a question and you answer the first thing that comes to mind. You ready?
Perfect.
Okay, your first celebrity crush.
Oh my gosh, Will Smith.
Really?
Will Smith.
Wow.
Fresh Prince of
Welcome
Bel-Air.
to Miami. Last TV show you binged.
Ooh, Matlock.
Oh my
The
God!
new series.
Yes.
Kathy
What's your
Bates.
face? Kathy Bates is everything.
So good.
Everything.
So
Oh my God!
good.
You gotta watch that. Okay.
Yes.
What song always gets you in your feelings?
Oh gosh, I'm a vocalist, so lyrics mean everything to me. There is a song called "We Can Be Kind," and right now it's just meaning so much more to me than anything.
And when you hear it, it touches you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, go-to comfort food after a hard day, like he eats.
Oh gosh, I'm afraid to admit this. Fried chicken.
There ain't nothing wrong with
Fried
that.
chicken.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
My roommate
Listen.
makes fun of me, but I love fried chicken.
Oh man, is there a specific place that you like it from,
I
or
don't
just
wanna
it not?
I don't want to tell.
Okay, let's say it. It's Popeyes, all right? Or Churches, or it could be KFC.
so
it don't
good.
matter. Sometimes that Publix chicken, you walk by it and you're like,
breaded.
you're like, was this always that good? It be smelling good as hell when you're trying to do your shopping. You know what I mean? Like, just saying. And last rapid fire question: name one person who inspires you right now.
Oh gosh, always a dear local friend, and I tell him this all the time. Everything that he does is the consummate professional, and he focuses on inclusivity across the entire board. My dear friend David Jobin.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, and when you think of someone who can be a mentor, someone who can inspire, that's David Jobin. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He is the head honcho over at our fund and OUR fund, right? Foundation. And, it's just, you don't even have to be David Jobin's friend, right? I'm an acquaintance. I'm not that cool of a cool kid. I'm not that much of a cool kid yet to be like friends with David Jobin like that. But just by watching him in circles, what he does, you can learn from, right?
Absolutely.
Be punctual, show up for people, be professional, know that your words have power.
Yes.
Like things like this, right?
Yes.
Make everything short and sweet. David Jobin gave me the biggest compliment one day. I was hosting something and he's like, I love how you host an event. Short and sweet. There's no dead time. We are in and out in 2 hours and I get to go home. And I'm like, you're welcome, right? right.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
That's
And
right.
that's it. And that's it. And that's the kind of people that we need, like at the helm, or
Yes.
to be able to go to. You know, these are the people who lead, but they also are not. They act like they're not in front of you. They walk like they're walking next to you.
You're their
you know?
teammate.
Yeah.
You're their teammate. They're not there to outshine you. They're not there to, take over. He is the ultimate, first of all, like very, very dear friend. Not a lot of people know, but we spend every few weeks like one-on-ones with each other, usually cocktails.
Yeah.
Right. But we have just gotten to know each other on such a personal level and realizing that we have such commonalities with music in San Francisco and people in common from San Francisco. So I love our one-on-one times because it's not necessarily always about work. It's just about two friends like geeking, like we're doing
Shooting
right now.
the shit.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? And
That's
there's
right.
something about our community that sometimes it's like you will be in the same room with somebody that you probably would have never been friends with, right? Where it's like not like your normal circle of friends. All of a sudden you're hanging out with David Jobin and you're learning something
100%.
from someone like that.
Absolutely.
You know, and those are the people that I try to stick near me. Those are the people I want to surround myself
Absolutely.
with. You know, I want to be the dumbest one in my circle.
That part. What else can I learn?
What else can I learn from
Absolutely.
you? People stop learning.
Yes.
You know, people stop learning and there's no reason, right? Continue to stay teachable. It's very important. All right, now let's get down and dirty and let's talk about this book, okay? Because I am so excited about surviving and thriving as a gay Black man. It's bold, raw, and like so needed, you know? What made now the right time to tell this chapter?
I think for me, I was ready. I've learned a
years?
lot. 5 years ago was book number 1, Letters to a Gay Black Boy. And a lot has happened in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? Right?
Yes.
So about a year and a half ago, I said, you know what? I think it's coming to me. You know what I mean? Different situations, different experiences that I have learned over the last few years. I said, it's now time to use those teachable moments, right?
Yeah.
Educational opportunities for all of us to learn,
Yes.
as you were just referring to. And then really just to push the envelope around authenticity and identifying who we are as an individual, who we are as a people, who we are as a culture, right? We get so caught up in our everyday lives and we want my community, my funding dollars, et cetera, et cetera. We need to be standing together, right? So much more now than ever. And so why not have a book where there's a guide to that?
I love that. And like you said, so much has happened in the last 5 years, right? 2020 was when his first book came out, and it was July 2020. Okay, if you folks remember where you were July 2020, it was mask time, it was lockdown time.
Black Lives
Matter. You know, it was Black Lives Matter time.
Yep.
I mean, it was George Floyd time. It was so much. I'm getting goosebumps. Then you fast forward a couple of years, it was, Trump time and Trump's coming time and,
here we go.
and, and Kamala and the possibilities and Black joy and what could happen, and then being crushed.
Like, damn it.
And all those thoughts, feelings, emotions, and experiences were downloaded to Terry Dyer, and you needed to put this on paper.
I did. And it's really also something that someone said after they read a few chapters and read the description of the book. One of the things that they said is, I don't even think you realize how much hope you're putting into this book. And then I thought to myself, they were right? Like, I wasn't necessarily writing to focus on hope. It was just to get these things out there and say, we need to do better. But then as things progressed, as writing progressed, I found myself, after talking to that friend, going back to chapters and saying, all right, what's the lesson here? How do I provide more hope for us as things continue to change and unravel in our current state? So,
oh my God, wow. Well, you said that this book is more than a memoir, right? It's a beacon.
Yes.
Right? Can you talk about that? Like, what do you hope readers, especially Black queer folks, take from these pages that have bled from you, basically?
I think one of the biggest pieces is knowing that we are fabulous no matter what, right? We need to start owning our sass. We need to start owning our creativity. We need to start owning our brilliance. So often our voices are siloed. We are oppressed continuously, right? That is still prevalent in our community today. And I think so often people shy away from being their authentic selves.
Yeah.
Right. And now I'm getting choked up because it's sad to see that in 2025, this is where we are as a community, as in a culture, right? And then the other thing that I think is so incredibly important is we need to hold each other accountable.
That's the tough one right there, because we're all good when we're all happy and it's pride and yay. But when we have to call out our friend for being a bad gay, which you know, I mean, a lot of us have done it. You know, we all make mistakes. None of us are, you know, God or anything. But it's harder sometimes to call out your friend with some shit than it is, you know, someone you don't know. You know, you might have worked with them on other things that were spectacular, and all of a sudden they met somebody new, and all of a sudden veered off. And no, because this is what happens in our community
constantly.
You know, and then nobody called them out on that.
Nobody held them accountable.
Nobody held them accountable.
Right. So that's what I'm doing. And I know all the time we say things like, oh, we got to call this out, call this out. I don't necessarily always like to use that term or that phrase. Like call them in. Use that as an educational opportunity. Lead with love and grace and kindness. That's how we continue these conversations in order to make effective change.
Have you ever had a conversation with someone trying to instill this with them? For example, 2020 was rough. Black Lives Matter was a real deal. Here we are 5 years later, and I don't know if many people learned shit from them.
That part.
You know, and this is coming from a white presenting person. I'm very well aware of my privilege in that part, right? I'm brown on the inside, but if I don't open my mouth, you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, so how do you tell these folks that here we are 5 years later, we're still in the fight? Like, you know, more needs to be done. We need to unify instead of each doing their own thing.
Correct. One of my favorite quotes of all time is, with privilege comes great responsibility, right? So we need to start using that privilege, right? Like you just talked about being presenting as a white person. Well, you do this. One of the reasons why you and I absolutely love each other, right? You stand in that privilege and you hold folks accountable. You and a lot of people obviously don't know this either, but our one-on-one talks for an hour on the phone, like I know and realize you understand the privilege and the space that you hold for our people, right? Does that mean that you are shying away from your authentic self? No, you just understand that you hold a space that not a lot of people do in the LGBTQ and the BIPOC space, and you hold that in such high regard that you are going to do everything in your power to make sure that we're a united front.
Well, I have to. And if I'm sitting at the table, I have told one of my best friends, Adriana Tender from Trans Inclusive Group, I have said countless, you know, when we became good friends, I said, girl, if I'm at a table and there's not a black person or a trans person there, I'm gonna call them out. That's it. That's going to be my job from now on, you know, and you know, and a placeholder. And I wait and I wait to be asked what to do when it comes to certain events and certain, you know, Juneteenth, whatever it is, right? I'm here to serve. I'm not here to talk. I'm here to serve. What do you want me to do for you? You know, and for whatever reason, that seems to be very difficult for some white presenting folks to do. You laugh, but I'm serious. You know what I mean? Where I have to remind some of my Cuban friends that are light, right? That I'm like, you Spanish, okay? You are not white. I don't care what you think. Yo, no, yo soy blanca. You are not white. You know what I mean? Trump thinks you're Mexican. Let's begin there. You know?
Well, I think so often, you know, folks don't necessarily want to push the envelope or ruffle feathers.
Or ruffle anything.
Right. And in order for us to get comfortable, we're going to have to be uncomfortable. And that is a foreign and scary concept for a lot of people. And so anytime there is going to be some uncomfortability, folks will shy away from that. Oh, I don't want to rock this, or oh, they may not give me funding, or oh, they may not work with me anymore. That's
or he might not be my friend, or he just might not be my friend. You know what I mean? But I mean, you know, these are uncomfortable conversations that you might want to have, but that you need to have. You know, if you're going through life tiptoeing around your BIPOC friends, not knowing exactly what to do, have a freaking conversation. I mean, you know, you've been a voice for justice for 20 years now? Jeez, I'm sorry. Baby, you look good. You use olive olay. You use olive olay and black don't crack, all right? You know, and that's real legacy work when you start thinking of 20 years of doing this, you know? What's something that you've learned along the way about being visible, vulnerable, and vocal?
I think one of the biggest things that I have learned, especially moving to South Florida, is I and some friends here all sort of make fun of me, and I'm the joking person, right? Even if something is sensitive or taboo, I always make a joke.
You're always going to make a joke. You're made light of it. Yes.
100%. And if we can't laugh at ourselves, then what are we doing?
No.
Right? So I always say, they always sort of make fun of me about code switching. Right? They're like, oh, but you get along with all the white folks. Like they all love you, blah, blah, blah. And they've called me out on being sort of the token one from time to time. And I think for me, that has been something over the last few years that has sat with me.
In a negative?
In a way that I've heard them.
Okay.
I've received it. And I figured out, okay, so how do I use this to give back to people that look like me? Right? I hear what they're saying and how I'm walking through and navigating these spaces that are non-folks of color. But how do I take those relationships and those powerful spaces that I've been a part of? How do I take that and bring that knowledge and that information back to my community, right?
Yes.
And not just my LGBTQ community, but my BIPOC community, my Black and Brown community,
Yes.
right? So I think that's been one of the biggest lessons that I have learned.
That's an incredible lesson, though, because think about it. Somebody else might think I'm being tokenized. F you. You know what I mean? You know, I can relate. Obviously, most of the tables that I'm at, I'm the only girl there. Most of the tables that I'm at, I'm the only Latina at the table, you know? And I know that I'm called to do certain things because I am Latina and a woman, you know? And at that moment, it's like, okay, do I mind being tokenized? I need that money in my pocket also. You know what I mean? So, and then, but I've never taken it past that point. With this conversation, I need to take it past that point.
Correct.
Okay, so I am being tokenized, but how can I make that so I can help other Latina lesbians be in the same space that I'm being allowed to be in?
Correct.
Epiphanies are happening right here on the FayWhat show.
This is how we do it.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, I got goosebumps because again, it's like we're so marginalized, Terry, that we don't take the thought process the whole way through.
Well, and one of the things that I have found, and I've loved my time here in South Florida, but one of the things that I have seen over the years is folks saying, yes, I'm all about diversity, equity, inclusivity. I'm all about bringing more entertainment here. I'm all about bringing more voices here. I'm all about this. But then when it really gets down to building the space or doing the actual work, people are like, oh, wait, that's what that meant? That's what I was supposed to do, right? Intentionality is a real thing. Yeah. Right. And I think so often we get caught up in, sure, yeah. Like I'm here for it. But then when it comes down to stand with the folks or do the actual work, so often people are like, oh, I didn't know that that's what that meant. We need to do better.
We need to do better.
Yep.
Okay, so let's pause for, with the heavy stuff for just 1 second, because I know that you're a big sports head.
I am.
Right? Tennis, gym life, ESPN. Give us your dream doubles match.
Oh,
and
gosh.
yes, it can be shirtless.
I mean, of course. Of course. I mean, my dream doubles match, I mean, I've been to the gay games multiple times. In tennis, my brother and I were the #1 seeds in Paris. Yes. So I've been around this sport for a long time. It wasn't my first sport, but unfortunately, after my knee replacement, this is really the sport that I can only do now. So for me, I would say being back at the gay games with my brother and playing doubles, like against whomever, best of the best.
I love that.
Beat the best of the best. And I've learned so much by being here and playing with the South Florida Tennis Club here. Shout out to all the boys and the wonderful competitors that are doing amazing work to be inclusive with tennis and bringing more health and wellness, adding more, trans inclusivity into the sport as well.
I love that.
So amazing. I'm so
proud.
More
BIPOC inclusivity as well. I mean, for the most part, when you think of tennis, golf, hockey, you think of it being a white sport.
100%.
It's expensive to play these certain kind
100%.
of games, and so a lot of us don't. You know what I mean? So to bring that visibility to that is also fantastic.
100%.
I gotta ask you about pickleball. Okay, because everybody plays pickleball, and it's like tennis, pickleball, right? And now Fort Lauderdale is like the pickleball,
gosh.
Capital of the world or whatever. Yep. Do you play that?
Okay, so here's what's very, very funny. I have dear, love him dearly. Mark Barr, shout out to you. He has been texting me for years now.
Years.
When are you playing? When are you playing?
Years.
When are you playing? When
Okay.
are you playing? You gonna come and join my group? No, girl, I am not coming to join pickleball. I love my tennis too much, right? And because of the knee replacement that I had a few years ago, I'm always sort of careful about adding new stuff. I don't want to mess anything up, that sort of thing. However, 2 weeks ago, I was in Tucson, Arizona at a conference.
Okay.
The final night, they took us to this really cool outdoor-indoor space that had courts outdoors and indoors. And I said, I'm finally going to get to play.
You're like, I'm not in South Florida. Mark is not around. I'm going to do it.
At all. Let's do this. And they paired us up, and it was such a serendipitous moment. I got to pair up with a dear friend and colleague from San Francisco who's been a mentor almost 20 years as well. And he had never played.
Oh, okay.
Never played. So our first time out, we played against a female duo team. We were down 0-7. I said, what am I doing? What am I doing? I hate this sport.
So it was totally different then.
It was so different.
Having that tennis background did not help you at all.
Well, everybody kept saying, you're hitting the ball like a tennis ball. You're hitting it too hard. Like, slow down. I'm such a power and fast player. So they're like, slow it down, slow it down. We came back and ended up losing 8-11, but then I played 5 or 6 more games, and my partner and I, we went undefeated. They were like, okay, we get it. We see the tennis skills. So I love it now. I cannot wait to play again.
I love it. All right. Okay. You know, we have to play. Let's do this. I'm saying it live so we could do this. You and me have to play the mayor of Wilton Manors. Scott Newton.
I love him. He's
Scott
so awesome.
Newton.
Yes.
Him and Nora, they always play, and they're always, please play. And I'm like, I don't have a second person. The Cuban is never gonna go. Okay, you and me against them.
Done. I love it.
Mayor, we're coming for you.
Let's do it.
All right.
That's a challenge.
That's it. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. So, Terry, balance is something that you live by, that you strive by, that you scream about. All right. How do you protect your peace while still being so visible in our community? And I say that because, you know, our community is lovely. Okay. We get to get dressed up and we get to go and have good food and partake and stuff like that. But our community also cancels a mother in a second. You know what I mean? Like, we can uplift, but we can also splat all at the same time. Like,
yep.
how do you keep the peace?
I think one of the things, I think that's such a great question. And one of the things that I've learned a tremendous lesson on is not allowing somebody else to steal my joy. Not allowing somebody else to affect my peace. And you know this, right? Like, I work so hard in so many different areas, in sports, in the gym, and, you know, consulting with different folks all over the country, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a lot on my plate. I have had to really sort of just sit in silence sometimes and just say, now's the time to reconnect with yourself. And it's not an easy thing to do, right? A lot of us aren't necessarily taught how to be one with ourselves.
How to be still.
How to be still. How to be alone, right? I talk to friends about this all the time. Oh, why are you going to dinner by yourself? Why are you taking yourself on a date? Girl, because I love myself.
And I deserve it. And I've been good. You know what I mean?
That part. So I think, and don't get me wrong, like, it's still a progress for me. Like, I'm constantly learning and trying to check in with myself, especially over the last couple of weeks and all the traveling that I've been doing and all the things that are coming up with the book tour. I have to find those moments where I can just sit in silence and check in with myself.
But it's important.
Yes.
It's important. There are people that have to have like the TV on in their homes because they always need kind of noise around, right? And like, you need to figure out where that silence is. That spot of silence will be like your go-to in times of crisis, in times of hurt, in times of whatever. Let me go find my center.
Absolutely.
You
it's
know?
your safe haven.
Your safe spot, you know, and it's not a place. It's in you, right? So if you're in a hotel room or if you're outside or if you're in a park, even if you're in your freaking car, you know, you stop and you go, okay, I got to bring it back. I need to chill, you know? Terry, let's bring it back to the book, okay, for a second, because, oh my God, I could talk to Terry for like 3 hours here. Oh my Lord. You should see us on the phone. It starts off with one thing, and then we're like talking about like North Carolina and some mountains and something that he ate yesterday. Anyway, you write about pride, not just as a celebration, but as survival. Right? You know, how does that shift the conversation for the community?
One of the things that I've also learned, life to me is always learning, always about life lessons.
Staying teachable.
100%. I think one of the things that's so incredibly fascinating is we get, and this is just me, and I don't speak for everybody, right? I only think or speak from my lived experiences. I have watched for years pride be about corporations, checking boxes, for 30 days out of the year. But what about the rest of the 300 and something days of the year where you're not prideful, you're not showing? So for me, it's all about making sure that everything that we do aligns with the pride that we want to carry, right? Pride to me starts within ourselves, right? So for me, especially over the last couple of years being here in South Florida, I've had to learn how to step in my own pride. Being Black, being gay, being young. Yeah, I'm young. Being young, right? Those things are not always, celebrated. Right? There's always negative connotations, or there's always oppression around them. So I think for me, it's just stepping into what pride actually means to me. I take a tremendous amount of pride in my work, and we're having work ethic. And I think so often as a people, as a community, as a culture, we do not.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's just figuring out what that actually means to you and living every single day in that pride. Everything that you do should have some element of pride. You can lay your head at the end of the day going, I'm proud of what I did today.
Yeah.
I don't think we think about those sorts of things constantly.
No, I don't. Oh, wow. Incredible. Terry, what's one thing that Terry Dyer still wants to do that might surprise people?
Oh, gosh. So you mentioned this, being a trained opera singer, and I don't necessarily sing a lot now, like I do concerts from time to time, but
I've been blessed to see him sing twice, and amazing. Look it up on YouTube.
Thank you. I think one of the things that I would love to still do, at 18, I was invited to, with the ensemble, the choir in college, to perform at Carnegie Hall.
Ooh.
And we ended up not going. I think it was a political thing way back in 90s.
See, we had political stuff back then.
We did. But I think for me, it's just having that opportunity at some point in my life to sing on a stage like that. I think that would be something that
I can see that though, Terry. That's an attainable.
Yeah.
That's an attainable dream. I love that. I love when you have, it's like, I'm going to win $15 million. You know what I mean? Like, okay, it's a possibility, but I mean, that's something that you can truly manifest.
Yes.
Yes. Before we wrap up, I got to ask, is it hard to date you?
Ooh.
I went there. You were waiting. You were waiting for that. I know you were.
He is going there.
I know you were waiting for that.
Oh, man. How much time we got? That's a long, answer. Okay, so see, again, I keep talking about lessons learned in the last few years, and many people that know me out there in social media land, et cetera, knows that I, in the last 5 years, have dated quite a bit here in South Florida.
And that's allowed, Terry.
It is. My friends all joke and sort of call me the black male gay version of J-Lo, like I'm always in a relationship.
Always.
Right. But one thing that I have learned and finally have come to terms with is I don't need to settle. Like, I'm finally comfortable in my own skin, and I'm comfortable being by myself. If I am alone, not that I want to be, but, not in an intimate relationship over, the next 20 years of my life, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I got work to do.
Yes.
I'm busy.
Yes.
Right?
Why? Listen, okay, in your own, personal opinion you're also an incredible coach, and you also mentor other people. Why are some people so afraid to be alone?
Oh,
gosh.
I
how much time do I have,
right?
No, because, Terry, I loved being single.
Yeah.
I effed the world. Whew. Whoa. Everywhere I could. Woo. It was a blast, right?
Me too, girl.
And then when it happened. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I'm here for it. I'm done with that. I'm cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I tell my single friends, the universe smells desperation. If you're desperate looking for it, the other person's not looking for you. Or better yet, if your person is out there, they're busy taking care of some shit now that they've got to take care of before you're even in the picture.
So one of the things that I love to talk to other single friends about is, oh, I try to date this guy. Oh, I try to blah, 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 blah. Stop trying to date somebody. Let somebody come chase you, right? It's human nature. We don't always do the necessary work on ourselves in order to be right with somebody else. Right?
I'm feeling RuPaul right now. Right. What is it what RuPaul says, right? Right? But it's true.
So true.
How do you expect for someone to love you if you don't love you?
That part. That part. And I think even though a lot of people like to mask it, oh, I'm good with myself. When it comes down to the actual work and who you are inside, a lot of people aren't in touch with that. And so if you're not in touch with that, boo, how do you expect somebody else to see the level of vulnerability that it takes to have a happy, healthy relationship? And I think for me, I have an aunt in California that always says she loves that I'm always putting my heart on my sleeve. She's like, that one didn't work great. Let's try the next. That's true simply because I have a lot of love to give. I want to give it. I want to share it. If it doesn't come back to me in that intimate way, that's okay. I'll just get it in other spaces.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm not going to allow a space where I'm not treated
how you're supposed to be. You know, like I tell my friends all the time, like, why are you entertaining crumbs when you deserve the whole plate? Like, you.
That part.
You know what I mean? Like in Spanish, there's a saying that says, mejor sola que mal acompañada. You know, better alone than in bad company.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, why am I carrying you around? Let me take care of me,
100%.
You know? And, you know, we all have trauma. Yes. We all have some trauma in our community. If you think you don't, bitch, you wrong, okay? You wrong. Right. And until you work through that, I'm not saying go to therapy, but if you can, do so, right?
100%.
But there's fellowship groups, there's all kinds of things that we can do. Be Fair counseling on commercial. Tommy does like whole BIPOC, workshops where people just come in and talk about what's going on with their days and their lives.
That's right.
You know, you better yourself. So when that person comes along, you are prepared with the best version of you to give to this person.
That part.
If you're broken, how do you expect to go and find that person to complete you? You know, I love my wife, Teresa. You are the shit.
Amazing.
I adore you. But you don't complete me. You don't. You know what I mean?
And that one person is not supposed to complete everything.
That's a lot of pressure on that person too.
Also true. Also very true.
You know?
And why would we as individuals want to put that amount of pressure? Like that person is never going to live up to whatever the expectations are that you have for them. If you don't allow them to love you the way they know how to love you. But you also have to know how to love yourself. And people are attracted to that. People are attracted to it. And I think for me, it's if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, that's okay too. But I think one of the biggest things that I've learned from people that I've dated here in the last few years is I demand a high level of communication, right? Like I don't think that a strong, happy, healthy relationship can last without effective communication. That means having the tough, hard conversations. That means being able to sit at a table or a couch or wherever and be vulnerable to that other person, right? Let them see the good, the bad, the ugly.
Take the interview face down. This is who I am with all my baggage and all the shit that's wrong with me.
Absolutely. And if they can't love that, then that's not the person for you.
Someone needed to hear that, right? It probably was you saying. I'm just saying. Terry, thank you so much for being in bed with me, being real, and just being the light that you are, Bobby. You know that I adore you.
Thank you. I adore you too.
Wow. Okay, so y'all get this book. Get this book, Surviving and Thriving as a Gay Black Man, officially launches July 15th, and it is everything, all right? Make sure that you follow Terry Dyer on all social media at Terry D Sings, right? Yes. On Instagram and at Facebook, he's under Terry Dyer. And if you're smart, you'll grab your copy on Amazon tonight. All right. Now, baby, you know how we end every show. You got to scream FayWhat at that camera when I say 1, 2, 3. FayWhat! Yes. Thank you, Terry, for being on my show.